Morning's wake-up call. Anthony Edwards flying, literally. Here's TNT's Ian Eagle.
Edwards drives in on Wiggins. Oh, my. Anthony Edwards! A serious rack attack!
How about this? What a pro wants, what a pro needs.
No.
Chet Holmgren just got back from the hip injury, man. Welcome back,
Chet Holmgren just got it.
You think Ant was thinking those lyrics when he was going up?
I think he was actually singing them. You know, like the Michael Jordan video, I Believe I Can Fly? I think that's exactly what happened right over at Chet. That's how they got sent into the All-Star break. And despite the loss, Thunder are leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the West. 8 games up on second place. Grizzlies 13 games clear of failing as we bring in all of our basketball experts to weigh in. Perk, your thoughts on just that violent dunk from Ant-Man?
I mean, that's who Ant-Man is. When you talk about one of the most polarizing figures in the game, that's who he is. He's always going to give you that big wow. It was a great win for the Minnesota Timberwolves because they have been struggling of late. Not Ant overall, but I'm saying the Timberwolves as a team. So, you know, that was a great win heading to the All-Star break. Great dunk by Anthony Edwards, putting Chet Holmgren on the poster. And, I mean, you know, they needed that type of energy.
And they got the energy as well. And Wendy, we go into the All-Star break now. We had touched on this yesterday, but it's worth pointing out again that as we go to the All-Star break, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're the best team in the West by record and maybe by leaps and bounds from other people. But you said those around the league don't believe in the Thunder. Why is that?
Well, I think it's because they're young, first of all. None of their players on their roster really are that accomplished. I would say maybe Alex Caruso, who was a role player with the Lakers, winning the championship in 2020. Other than that, they're relatively unproven in the postseason. You know, last year they were the #1 seed in the West, and they got beat in the second round by the Mavericks, by the eventual West champs, but they had home court advantage and weren't able to hold on to that. And then this year they got to the NBA Cup final, which was their biggest moment of the season, and they laid an egg in that game. They didn't bring their best, other than last night. I think last night was probably their worst game of the year, now that we're talking about them. But other than that, their NBA Cup performance, I think, leads teams to think that on the biggest level, they haven't proven it yet, which is fair. But on every other level, this team has been absolutely dominant, especially defensively. They've got the MVP favorite. They have so much going for them, and they're still getting better. And so I would say underrate the Thunder at your own peril.
Perk, where's your belief meter in the Thunder?
Well, Matt, you know my grandpa used to always say, a hard head make a soft ass, okay? And to all those hard-headed people out there that don't believe in the Oklahoma City Thunder, I feel sorry for your loss. They check all boxes, and we haven't even seen this team whole yet, right? Chet Holmgren is just coming back off an injury. It's going to take time for him and Isaiah Hartenstein to even coexist, and both of those guys last night, even in the loss, both had double-doubles. SGA is the best perimeter player in the league offensively. And one could say up there on two-way players because he gets it done on the defensive side of things. They have great depth. When you have a guy like Aaron Wiggins who's now coming in off the bench that could light you up for 20, we know what Luke Dort is going to bring to the table, a pest defensively, a physical player. So, listen, I'm not disrespecting the Oklahoma City Thunder. I actually have them going to the NBA Finals.
Wow. Okay. Bobby Marks, where do you weigh in on all this?
Well, I mean, I think certainly the favorites to get to the NBA Finals just based on what they've done this year. I think the most important thing, the one thing that stands out for me is that they've only had one time this year where they've lost consecutive games here, once. So certainly the consistency there, the best defensive team in the NBA. Here's my one concern with Oklahoma City, and I hate to use a 2-game sample, but last night against Minnesota and that NBA Cup game against Milwaukee, 12 for 61 from 3. In the loss to Dallas last year in that second round, 33% from three-point land. So that would be my concern as far as shooting from deep in some of these closer games here.
Yeah, look, the statistics speak for themselves. We've seen young teams develop into championship caliber teams. Maybe the Thunder are doing that. To the NBA, Wendy, Bobby, Perk are back with us. Midseason Superlatives as we embark on the All-Star break over the weekend. So, Wendy, first superlative for you. Who's the most overrated team?
It's hardly a superlative, but I just want everybody to pump the brakes on the Lakers. I see after this Luka trade, there's an incredible amount of excitement. They've been hot lately. I got people talking about them as a possible conference finals team, as a possible finals team. I really like the Lakers' short-term or mid-range future. This year's roster is in balance. Teams are going to attack them on the interior. They're going to be good, but let's just keep our expectations under control.
Perk, thoughts?
Wait, we can't pump our brakes. LeBron James is playing at an extremely high level at the age of 40. They just got back Luka Doncic, an international superstar, for Anthony Davis. Do I have them picked to go to the NBA Finals or the Conference Finals? Absolutely not. But they're a second-round exit for sure. But at least they got what they need for the future to carry this historical franchise.
Good point.
They were going to be a second-round exit anyway, before the trade.
What else?
Superlative number 2 as we head to the All-Star break. Bobby Marks, who's the biggest surprise?
Well, Matt, it's the team everybody was making fun of last year, the Detroit Pistons, the 14-68 Pistons from last year. They've already doubled up that win total here. They nailed all 3 offseason additions, whether it be Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley. They've got an all-star in Cade Cunningham, and this team is positioned to not only make the play-in, but be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference.
Wendy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say the Pistons being a top 6 team at this point is absolutely stunning. Not just surprising, stunning. They had hopes of doubling their win total from last year. Not by the All-Star break. They have incredibly overachieved, and they're getting stronger. J.B. Bickerstaff has done a great job with them, and Cade Cunningham is a bona fide superstar. He's got a chance to make All-NBA this year and hit the kind of criteria for a Supermax. So that is exact. People, when he got that contract, people thought he might have been overpaid. He might be a bargain.
Yeah, it has been fun watching Cade Cunningham develop. There was so much pressure on him coming in, but he certainly lived up to those expectations and developed into a frontline player. Okay, final superlative. This one was tailor-made for Perk. Who's the biggest disappointment going into the All-Star break?
Oh, it's the Philadelphia 76ers. Not only did they go out this offseason and pay Paul George a lot of money to help them get over the hump and come in and help Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, but Paul George has been just a role player for this team for some strange reason. And then Daryl Morey is still lying to the American people, saying that this franchise belongs to Joel Embiid when it don't. This franchise belongs to Tyrese Maxey. And here we are, Matt. Okay, last year, around this time, right before the playoffs, when everybody was expecting Joel Embiid to come back after his injury, guess what? I said that the plan should be shut him down, put a plan in place, and have him ready for the season. I was called everything but a child of God. And here we are again in the same position where Joel Embiid is out there playing injured. He said it himself to Lisa Salters that he's going to probably need another surgery that's going to take an extended amount of time for him to get right. Shut him down right now. Put a plan in place so that you can have him ready, fresh and ready to go for the start of next season, and look to see what can you do with Paul George this offseason.
Yeah, and I feel like we have some house money with Philly fans because the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, so we can be as harsh as we want on the Sixers because, quite honestly, Wendy, it's the truth. I mean, how far gone is this thing with the contracts with Paul George and Joel Embiid?
Far enough gone that they don't have a way forward without them on the roster. Their way forward is to figure out, as Perk said, how to get Joel Embiid healthy and how to get more out of Paul George. Paul George has dealt with some injury issues throughout the season, but it doesn't even explain how poor he's been. They've got to re-examine how to get him, more taken advantage of, because his inability to be a factor on the offensive end is as big of a disappointment as Embiid's health, in my view. They're in kind of no man's land, though. They're in 11th place. They're not quote unquote out of it. They could still make the play-in, and with their talent, make a run. On the other hand, their pick, they lose it unless it's inside the top 6, which would imply maybe a tank job. But they're kind of stuck in the middle. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Bobby, you're a numbers guy. What do you make of the numbers problem with the Sixers that have now been compounded because of the injuries?
Well, they've got a $240 million problem of Joel Embiid. I mean, that's where I look at it here. Certainly what's committed to him in the future here. I think health is a huge issue. And certainly when you add in Paul George to this, They had committed $800 million to these three players, Matt, and they were the darlings of the offseason. But when you're talking about Justin Edwards and Gershon Yabusele as your big offseason signings, that's a major issue in Philadelphia. And they're married to this group. Listen, if they ever wanted to put Joel Embiid on the trade market, I don't think he would pass his physical, to be real honest with you here. So this is who they are right now.
It's really stunning how this thing has all come together. Go ahead, Perk, quickly.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Bobby, because, Matt, here's the thing. I strongly believe that for the rest of Joel Embiid's career, he would never be healthy again. I believe that they're going to have to deal with whatever team it is, whether it's the Philadelphia 76ers or if they find a dummy out there to trade for him, they're going to have to deal with him being not 100% or even close to 80% for that nature. I believe it's just one of those situations, and it's unfortunate because we saw what Joel Embiid could be when he was at his MVP level. And again, it's about the plan. The great organizations around the league, they put a plan in place for their players, especially a quote-unquote one of their franchise players, to make sure that he does everything that he needs to do to put him in the best position possible. And I feel like the 76ers are at fault some type of way for not doing that with Joel Embiid.